What's up, guys? Evil GM1 here, and I am going to talk to you today about BESM 3rd edition. I set this up as a live stream initially so I could do some Q&A, but I could not get that to work. I'm very new to streaming, so forget that shit. If you have questions, shoot me whatever in comments and blah blah blah, and I'll get to you. Alright, so let's start off. You guys probably all know tabletop role-playing games, or you might not, but basically we're talking about like D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, things like that. I like to just call them just games with dice. Any game with dice, tabletop game. So that includes Monopoly, which you probably are familiar with. Now these are a little bit different. So, BSM 3rd edition. What is BSM 3rd edition? Big eyes, small mouth. It's an anime role playing game. There are many out there. This one is one of my favorites because when they made this, oh, they put such good work into it. You can pretty much play any anime with this book. Now, this book itself is unfortunately out of print. Currently, White Wolf owns the publishing rights, I believe. They aren't really doing squat with it because they do a D10 system and it is a D6 system or a tri-stat system, which we'll get into. So, I tend to birdwalk a lot. So this is going to be pretty interesting. It might be better I'm not doing it streamed because I might get off topic with questions and other things. I could have AD&D. AD&D, that's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. ADD? Whatever it's called. Alright, so, Big Eyes, Small Mouth. As I said, it's an anime role-playing game. It uses 2 dice, 2d6s. So, very easy to play. You don't have to keep up with 7 different dice. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love D&D, as all role-playing games. Big Eyes, Small Mouth, this is the 3rd edition. The 1st edition I never played. The 2nd edition is actually how I got familiar with the subject material. I had a friend who asked me to come join him in this weird game. They were doing a Helsing setting, if you're familiar with that anime. And kind of let me just build whatever I wanted with a certain amount of points, which we'll get into. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. 2nd edition is not a bad choice. 3rd edition, I like better. Now, as I said, this book is out of print. You can get it on Drive-Thru RPG. You'll probably be able to find it on eBay, whatever, Amazon maybe even, but it's probably gonna run you like $100. So, yeah, anime role playing game. No streaming, no streaming ever. Where was I? Right. So you can pretty much, as I said, play any anime. Some pros and cons with this game, right off the bat that you should know. Let's start with some cons. Unlike games you might be familiar with, like Dungeons and Dragons or even Pathfinder, things of that nature, there is no bestiary. There are a few sample characters in the back and a few templates. There is no bestiary, which means you, as a game master or storyteller, I don't remember what they call you in this one, I believe it is game master, have to create all the content, every single bit of it. It is rewarding. It is not as hard as it sounds, but it is still work. So it's kind of a con for, the game master side of it, but as a player, you're going to enjoy it. There's so much you can do. So much. Yeah. Another con for some people is going to be there is no miniatures. Now, of course, you can play with miniatures, but miniatures for anime don't really exist, and there's no scaling, like move this many squares in one turn, blah blah blah. Now, so you're gonna have to use what's up here when you play this game. It's con for some people. Some people it's pro. Some people don't like miniatures. They bog down gameplay, and they can, because I know I focus on, if I don't have the miniature for this monster, I might not be able to get them to fight it, or blah blah blah. And I like to just collect big miniatures, like this guy. But you shouldn't have that big of a problem with it. Big pro, imagination. You can, like I said, do anything. You can play Dungeons and Dragons with BESM 3rd Edition. Yeah. You don't need to be playing with 2 dice, but you can play the setting. So, I'm going to kind of just skim through the chapters and say what comes to me. Okay, here we go. Benchmarks. So, you want to play in a setting, but you're not really sure how many points to give people. When you create characters in this, it is based upon a point buy system. Your characters aren't going to like level up all that much. You don't get XP, you get points, and you buy attributes with those points, whatever you want to do. This handy device right here, this little table, this benchmark, is if I'm playing a game and I want my players, or if I'm running a game and I want my players to be, say, superhuman, that is kind of a benchmark of what I want them to go by. Reference. Of course, anyone who's run any game knows that everything in the book is reference, but honestly, if you didn't want any rules, you wouldn't have paid $60 for a book. You could just make up shit on your own. So there is a point to rules. It helps keep everyone a bit of a fairness. And yeah. But anyway, I kind of use this as a basis usually. When I run my games, I don't really do that. I am going to be doing an up-and-coming kind of, it's a BESM game. I'm going to try My Hero Academia setting, so I'll post some videos on that, and you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about with creating characters and stuff. Alright, stats. This game is run off of what is called the tri-stat system. The tri-stat system, you only have like 3 stats, whereas most games you've got 6. You've got strength, dexterity, intelligence, blah, 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 blah. Throw it all out the window. We got body stat, mind stat, soul stat. Body, anything physical. Pretty much. You're done. Mind, anything mental. Now that includes hearing, seeing, smelling, all that good stuff. Now soul is luck or willpower. I know I said mind was mental, but soul's like determination and things like that. At the end of the day, you're going to take these 3 stats, and whatever you have in them is going to kind of decide your overall value. Soul stat will stack with mind and body, both. So soul is kind of an important one. Over here, they've got a table. This is kind of cool. I like to do this when I'm helping players create characters. If you have, say you have a mind of 1, well, infant is where you're at. So, if your character has a mind of 1, there's something wrong with them. And you would have to roleplay that effectively. What is my dog doing? What are you doing? Get out of the window. Sorry. Anyway, usually in most anime settings, when I'm playing, everybody starts out as teenagers. So I tell them right away, go ahead and 3 across the board for your tri-stat. That means that you are the average teenager at that point. I'm getting a little ahead of myself with costs and everything. But, use this as kind of a guideline. Mostly, we don't go above 13. That's kind of a special case scenario. 12 is the max, and even then, if you're using those benchmarks I mentioned, your characters, as you can see, on Godlike, attribute level max is 8. Now that includes your tri-stat bonuses as well. So that kind of gives you an idea. 8 is pretty powerful. You can go above 12. Ooh, I just zoomed way too far out. You can go 12 and up, but your characters are going to be woo-hoo-hoo. Alright, moving on. Maybe. Get this back. Nope, don't need it. Body, mind, soul. You add all those up and divide it by 3, your average is going to decide your attack combat mastery value and your defense combat mastery value. You're basically going to take these 2 dice, roll them, and nearly everything is going to be added to those 2 dice. So for the teenagers, like I said, with 3 across the board, it's 3. So I roll 2 dice, and quick example of an attack would be I roll 2 dice, I get 5 on the dice, 8. I'm attacking Saito, whatever. He's going to roll his dice. He gets 5 on the dice. He also has a 3, 8. Ties go to the attacker. The attack succeeds. It's pretty much just like that. Now, 2nd edition, it was low rolls, which is kind of cool, but the downside with that was, so your ACV was subtracted by 2. So you would never have a 3 in there because that is what I'm not gonna get into all that. But let's say your ACV is 4. Your DCV is gonna be 2. Let's use actually ACV 7 and your DCV can be 5. That works. It's always gonna be -2. And that's 2nd edition again. I'm bird walking. I told you. I warned you. All right. So I'm gonna roll 2 dice, and I want to for my attack to succeed. I need under 7. I get a 5. My attack succeeds. Okay. Now here's where it gets crazy. So the guy I'm attacking, let's say his DCV is 5. I rolled a 4. I succeeded. I rolled under. Your hit doesn't do anything. So the problem with this was there was ways you can fine-tune attributes and get your DCV up to where it was like 11 or 12. Which means the only way I'm going to miss is if I fumble, which in there was a 12. 2 6s. And yeah, so you would have battles that just go on forever because no one rolls 12 that much. Or if the attacker rolled double 1s, which is like critical, then they automatically hit. Doesn't happen often. So that was the big problem. So in this one, it's additive. So you just add it. Higher number wins. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. I know a lot of people talk about less dice rolling. What? Less dice rolling? I get it. Like, I don't want to, hey, I got to drive to work. GM goes, you need to roll. You get a fumble. You forgot how to drive. You crash and die. I can understand stuff like that. But seriously, I'm playing a role-playing game. It's a game. I want to roll dice. I love story, don't get me wrong, I love role-playing and everything, but if I just wanted to sit around and fucking talk, I wouldn't have bought a $60 book or whatever, and I wouldn't be playing at somebody's house with dice. Okay. Oh. So their character sheet that they give you in the back of the book is complete crap. Look for sheets online. I can post some links later, but I do not use this sheet at all, I just want to say. Okay. So mind, body. So, when we create a character in this game, I will give you X amount of points. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, too far. Right there we go. So, with those benchmarks I mentioned, these would be the points you get to design your character. So, if we were playing a heroic game, which most anime start off heroic or mythical and then kind of work their way up. Some of them, like I'd say, at the point Dragon Ball Z is, when it's Z, they're into the mythical superhuman range. And then they get to superpowered, and as, everything goes on, we're in godlike. So you get this many points to design your character. It's a point-buy system, as I mentioned. Again, use this if you want to. It's a really good, helpful thing to tell you, hey, this is how many character points you should give your players. As I mentioned, when I first started in 2nd edition, the points are a little bit different, and I might get into that later, I might not. So, the GM had never ran the game before he'd run 1 or 2 sessions, but this was kind of his test run with it. So he wanted to give us more powerful characters so he could see what was possible with the system. So it gives us 80 points, which in 3rd edition would be kind of like superpowered to godlike. And lets us design our characters. My intro into the game was I'm walking down the streets of Italy, a black sedan is speeding down the street at me. What do I want to do? I told him I want to stop it. And he looked at me incredulously like, stop it? Ow. I said, I'm just going to put my hands out and stop it. He's like, it's a speeding car. I don't know that that's possible. And I said, I have super strength, level 6. I can juggle air carriers, which is exactly what it says in the book. And so, as a GM, you want to kind of know what your characters are capable of because, yeah, and I did stop it. And it's a pretty interesting thing. Anyway, so you use this chart to kind of help establish a baseline. And it's really helpful if you start out designing the bad guys, or if you're playing a setting. Like I'm going to be playing My Hero Academia. So I might take All Might, for example, or one of those other students, like Kabato or the Ice Fire guy, and stat them out. And if I do that, then I kind of know where I want my players to be. If I want them to be as powerful, more powerful, or even, less, I've got a good baseline. Because if I know how many points that character is worth, then I know how many points I want my players to be worth. So that is a good thing. Now, when you buy Body, Mind, and Soul, it is 10 points for 1. So, as I said, if we're playing teenagers, which My Hero Academia we would be, everybody gets a 3 across the board, which means you have just spent 90 points. That's kind of a lot. So you can see, I'll probably be using heroic or mythical. Most likely heroic mid-tier, so I'll give them 150 to 200 points to design their characters. So if let's just go baseline and say I'm doing the 150. You have 60 points left to mess around with your character. And those 60 points are going to be spent on attributes. Attributes are the bread and butter of your character. Everything is an attribute. I said those stats, like in Dungeons & Dragons and other games like that, when you have your characteristics, your statistics, your dex, and all that stuff, you can pretty much play. You don't need skill points. You can pretty much go, well, I want to jump a wall. Okay, well, this is what this is, so you can do it. And you can do that with Tristat, but, there's no classes in BESM, I should say. So, if you didn't have attributes, you would pretty much be playing a classless character in a game like Dungeons & Dragons. So yeah, attributes are important, but I feel like somewhere along the way, now as I said, attributes. Whoa. Okay, mastering this is all about mastering, like, this is what you have to do to kind of master it. And it can be confusing, so just start with the basics. Really, if you think about it logically, it's not that confusing. But some people see all the charts and get overwhelmed. So we got this chart right here, attribute progression. This is mostly for when you're wanting to customize attributes, which is how you really fine tune this game. We're not going to bother with that right now. I'm just going to move on. Here's your table. It's got all your attributes. This is a description of the stats, blah, blah. All right, let's start. wait, what am I doing? Why am I reading off this stupid small screen? I put the book right in front of me. Spiel is because we have this attribute right here called Attack Combat Mastery. Every time you buy this, it costs 10 points. Your ACV goes up. Why would you want to buy this? Because remember, you could say, hey, Evil, I know I could just spend 10 points and raise my body, mind, or soul. Well, remember, it is a division of 3, so if you just want a better attack, this is the way to go. This attribute, Companion. It's pretty freaking cool. If you were going to play a Pokemon RPG, this would be kind of your attribute, and it's set up so good that I actually created a character once that down here you can see hierarchies of companions, so you can get a companion and you kind of build them like a character, and they could take companion, and that companion could take companion, so you could basically have an army. That sounds OP, but you've got to keep in mind that the person with companion, the attribute, is who they're loyal to. So I may say, hey, General Tear, or whatever the hell I name him, go and kill blah blah blah. But General Tear is not my companion. My companion is Admiral Fire, and Admiral Fire has been kidnapped. So General Tear doesn't necessarily have to do what I say, because he's not my companion. He's General or Admiral, whatever the fuck's companion. So, sounds OP. It's more for looks. I mean, if you want to create an army and do massive battles, good on you. This doesn't really have massive battle rules. It would be easy to create some, but yeah. Divine Relationship, good one, represents luck. So it basically gives you one dice roll per game session or reroll. Extra actions. So an action in a combat, you get kind of, the move isn't really that limited. You kind of describe to your game master what you're wanting to do. Like, I want to run up the stairs and punch this guy in the face. And then game master might decide, okay, you can't do all that in one round. So you can run up the stairs and open the door, but you can't punch him in the face. Extra actions gives you the extra opportunity to do that. Now, an action breaks down differently, and I'll get to that later. Now, in most anime, too, extra defenses up here. In most anime, as you know, numbers win the day. Numbers always win the day. So, every time you get attacked, the next time you get attacked, it's a minus off of your defense. You get penalized. So, extra defense gives you the ability to defend more. You can tell that this is going to be... Okay, weapon. This is the big one. This is the one a lot of people are going to be buying and using, and you're going to spend a lot of your points on weapon. So weapon is your attack. It says weapon, and so everybody automatically thinks sword, katana, gun, whatever. It's my lightsaber. It could be. So when you buy a weapon, it's up to you to describe it. If you want your weapon to be a volcano that erupts upside down from the sky, that's what it is. It's your imagination at this point. But stat-wise, that volcano might appear, all that stuff might happen. Great, that's cool. It's a visual effect. But unless you bought the stats where people are going to be afraid of it, or that it's an area of attack, you could just plick somebody on the head and do 2 points of damage. Yeah. So the weapon is what you make it. A weapon could be a special move, Kamehameha wave. A weapon could be like a martial arts throw. It could be anything you want it to be. When you get down to it, what you want to do is visualize your weapon first. Not just say, well, what kind of weapon can I have? This is an armory. You're not just spending money. It's basically, what weapon do you want? Okay, so basically, and this goes back to what I was talking about with character creation and stuff, damage multiplier. It has been a while since I ran this, but I really love this game. So damage multiplier, every character has a damage multiplier. Five, 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 five. Single, 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 single. I don't know. Ichi ni san shi go. Yeah, go. Okay, so five. Every character has damage modifier five. So when I take weapon, if I take weapon two, or one times five equals 5 points of damage. Now, evil, why would you want to take a weapon level 1? Well, weapons can do things besides damage when you take this attribute. Weapon level 2, your damage goes up to 10, and so on and so forth. Now, you can only do one weapon attack per round. So, yeah. You can also have weapon level 0, which means... Oh, gosh, I got a kink in my neck. Whew. Which means you're going to do 0 points of damage. Well, you'll do your ACV and damage. So to design, say, Kamehameha, we got the weapon. Let's just start it out simple. Let's point 1 point to it. All right, we got 1 point to it. So we spent 2 points on this for one level, I should say. It's already ranged. It starts out ranged if you... I'm skipping all that. This is just supposed to be an introduction. My bird walking ways have gotten me in trouble. But anyway, I'll make future videos about this. The anime role-playing game, it's just wonderful. I mean, like I said, you can create pretty much anything you want. Anything. I'll demonstrate that with some stuff. It is not that hefty of a read. There's a lot of artwork. This book itself, this is the only book for 3rd edition. They only released one. I think what happened is that the guy who made it overextended himself. He printed too many. He went bankrupt, and he lost the license. So like I said, White Wolf earlier. White Wolf doesn't care about it. They own it. They haven't done anything with it. Oh, this system also released a D20 edition. So if you're really attached to using 7 different dice, there is a BESM D20. You can check that out. I've never ran it because I'm happy with the 2 dice. But if what I'm talking about with weapon customization, all that stuff might sound complicated to you, then yeah, go ahead and get the D20 edition. This book comes with a lot of templates. They actually had an official setting that they were kind of tinkering around with. It sounded pretty cool. It was basically called the multiverse, and the way it was set up is you could pretty much take any anime and incorporate it into the multiverse. It's pretty nice. Alright, so here's your combat flowchart. We start, initiative, decide what you want to do, go on, blah, blah, blah. You only get 1 attack per round, 1 weapon. The movement, like I said, you can kind of do pretty freeform. But this game also uses meters. It's kind of European, so like you saw defense earlier was spelled DEFENCE instead of SE. It's, like I said, more European and metric, which is really not that hard to translate. You can just Google it if you need it in feet. Alright, so my damage is my weapon attribute times my damage multiplier plus my ACV. So, say I have Katana, and it's weapon level 3. Everybody's damage multiplier starts at 5. There is an attribute called massive damage that bumps it up. But let's just say the base 5. 3 times 5, 15. My ACV 3. Boom, 18 points of damage. Pretty simple. Of course, your health is your body stat times your soul stat. And your energy, which attacks can or cannot use energy, it's up to you, is your there was one more thing I want to talk about, and that is defects. So defects, I said I only gave them 150 points if they spent 90. They just spent 90 on their three attributes, their tri-stats. Then they only left with 40 points left. So 60 points left. What am I saying? Math. Okay. So say you want more. You can take these things called defects, which sound harsh, but really a lot of characters in anime have them, and they kind of give your character. Each time you take one of these, it will give you back a certain amount of points that you could spend any way you want. So if I just want, like, a mother or a fiance, I can take, and I might already have one based on my character background. Now you can have one without taking the defect, but say you take the defect, it means, hey, you get 1 point if you want it to be where they're rarely placed in grave danger or they appear infrequently. So like, oh guys, I got a letter from my fiance, her jewels were stolen, or blah blah blah. That's the kind of stuff that does. And 2 points, grave danger, and they appear frequently. 3 points, it's like Mario and Peach. Reduced damage, something else you could take. Red tape is kind of like the government gets in the way, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna go into everything, but yeah. So that's pretty much kind of an introduction. I may have gone a little overboard just for now. I will be running this actually Tuesday. If I can get my players to agree to a stream or recording, because obviously I don't have streaming worked out, I'll do one. But yeah, any questions, anything like that, just shoot me a message on Twitch, EvilGM1, and I'll post some more vids, or hopefully I'll get the streaming up and we can do some live interactions. But anyway, that is all for now. You guys have a good day.